Okay, thank you everyone for joining this August session. We have quite a lot of things to share with you. So let's start. The highlights that I'm going to share, and for most of them, we'll do also a demo. It's about, one of them is this Primo Analytics collection discovery usage. It's a nurse that we can deliver, help you track usage per the collection. I will show you the option. I will show you the even other things that we do while implementing that. Another feature that we'll demo for you is display documented attributes for CDI records. Document attributes are attributes that can identify records in CDI, such as retracted, primary source, and all. We'll share demo and let you know how this will be available. We did some improvement to the list of version for the verbal list of version by highlighting the selected record above the list of version. We'll share with you how it is done and how you can save and help user be in the context, stay in the context while reviewing the list of version. More new resource type available from CDI coming as a request from nurse and IDEA. And one of the top idea that we have finally managed to implement after understanding better the requirement is the ability to display the item policy in the GetIt just as it is if it's been defined as a persisted attribute per item in Alma. We can now expose it also in the GetIt. And of course, there are always additional items in the update to share. Okay, so as always, I'm also sharing with you the highlights as what are both coming both in Primo and Primo VE August release, and the one that are these are the ones that are already mentioned, and for most of them we'll also have a demo. And for Primo VE, there are additional enhancements that I'd like to share, and there are additional enhancements that I'd like to share. For instance, enhance the search capability for resource recommender. This is already existing in Primo Backoffice now, will be available in Primo VE, not supporting and suggesting recommendation based on exact match, but also giving more options like using synonyms or changing the order to better match the searchable tag that your librarians guess. I will do a demo for that. Also, something that is available already in Primo Backoffice and will be available now in Primo VE is the library notices sections in the personal details in my library card. This actually section allow the user to choose whether to opt in or opt out from a notification or letters from the library. So we'll share with you how it's look like also in Primo VE. Previously, we released the secondary resource type, and we are now adding, based on the feedback from you, additional option to help you better map and assign secondary resource type. In this, we'll have the ability to map using the all, not for a specific one. And also, we are also adding a new operator and not while you are defining a condition over there. We're also happy to share with you that we work on specific for workflow in the browse in order to improve performance over there. And while improving the performance, we have to share there is also an impact to the way the browse search results lists look like. So I will explain what is the impact here. Additional feature that will be available in Primo VE, and you can better read on that on the release notes, will be an option to set in the login page a list of logins for other members or other institutions. And once user choose to sign in to one of those institutions, it's being redirected directly to the view of the institution that is selected. Okay, so let's start. So before we are starting, we are always sharing the release schedule. So the release is going to be available on the sandbox on July 23. Here you can see the deployment for Primo backoffice customers. You can see the release will be available for multi-tenant production customer on August 6th. Local customer will be able to see the service pack in the FTP on August 20. For Primo VE, we are talking about main feature results. It will be available again on July 23, this Sunday on the sandbox, and on production on August 6. This is also to remind you that by August, we will also, the semi-annual indexing, we have a twice a year semi-annual indexing, and by August this will be completed. So, okay, let's start with the release. Primo Analytics. This is, of course, a nurse, and where you require a nurse, and also coming from the idea where you so far, in order to measure how the collection discovery is being used, how the collection discovery is being used in the system, you had the option. You add the option to view in general, like how many actions were on display collection, or how many users search through a collection page, but it was not specific per collection name. Now, with this enhancement, what we are actually introducing, we are introducing a new subject area. You can see here while you are opening the Primo Analytics system, and we would like to create a report. You can see the list of Primo subject area that are available. So we created a new one. It's called Primo Customized Value Usage. And here, what is new here is the ability to have dynamic data such as collection name available. So we can have counters for dynamic data. So far, for the Primo action usage that probably you are using, we could not provide any customized value, because this would affect the sizing of the entire action, and would affect performance. We therefore always give a closed list, or give an option to monitor per location, per a specific number of location, or something like that. Now, creating this Primo customized value usage, you will be able to have per the collection name, which is considered for us as dynamic data, a counter. So here I just created a report. This is coming from our QA environment. So let's see. For instance, if I have a collection name named digitized paintings, I can see that 75 times users click on a display a collection. And I can also create a report where I can group all of the collection action all together to see that how well is used these digitized paintings, and comparing to the use of other collection name. So as I said, having this Primo customized value usage is open us for more options to create and be able to monitor per collection name the number action applied on it. This is an enhancement that will be available during Primo VE and Primo August release for you. And while I'm talking on that, I can also want to share with you that this subject area is not only can be used for collection, we choose also to extend the use of that in August release, also to support better the new feature that we release in May, which called the resource type filter bar. So this is the resource type filter bar that we introduced in May, and we saw already customer implementing it. Where you can let your user narrow the results for your selected resource type that you wanted to highlight underneath this search bar. So far, the usage that we give you to track how well this is being used is per location. For instance, this is a report that you could have generated from this Primo action usage so far. We made 11 actions, like clicking on resource type, but number 1, number 2, number 3, we did it per location. And this is the way now you can track per location. You can see that click on resource type bar 2, which is actually books. This is a number of action. This is what currently. And now with this new Primo customized value usage, what you will be able to gain here is, instead of seeing the number of clicks per the location, you can see it actually per what we call the dynamic value, the customized value, which is actually the name of the resource type that you choose to have it. You can have it a resource type which is out of the box, or you can have it a local resource type. Whatever you choose to see, we will use now the name. So it will be easy for you and more friendly to have a report and measure the track. And I believe that in the future, we will be able to use this to give you a better usage and more readable for other area in the system. Okay. Okay. Now, a new feature available with CDI is the document attributes for CDI records. So I will explain what are these document attributes. So document attributes for CDI records are actually attributes that will be associated to a record, and they are meant to provide more information about this type of record. In order to get this information, we are actually pulling data for various sources. You will find in the release notes per document, per specific attribute from which sources we are pulling this information. And so, of course, it will be gradual growth. So when I'm talking about the document attribute, we're talking about two types of attributes: a regular document attributes, as you can see, and for example, primary source, review article, or preprint. And we're talking about warning document attributes, such as retracted publication or retracted notice. Here you can find, you can see an example of showing and indicates the user while searching and finding this article, that this article is actually considered to be a retracted publication. You can see this indication here. And retracted publication is actually telling the user that this article was removed from academic journal, and we are marking, and we choose to have this warning document attribute appear even before peer-reviewed and open access, just to mark to the user. It's not only that we are displaying it to the user in the brief results, it will be also displaying the full record. And you will see also in the demo in the next slide that we also let the user filter by those, so they can choose to see article but exclude retracted publication, for instance. Usually when user will search and find article that is considered to be a retracted publication, he may also find the search results additional article, which can be marked as a retraction notice. And this will be, such an article will be a short article that may explain the reason why the original article was considered to be retracted publication. And I will share it in the demo. So this is how we mark warning document attributes. And there is also, as I said, regular document attributes. And there are, as you can see here, we are marked it here as a review article. And the review article, and this one will appear after the peer-reviewed on open access, as you can see here. Just before I'm going into a demo, I also want to emphasize that it's not only that we are adding this indication for display in both the brief results and the full display, but we are also adding the option for user to filter by these attributes. the user will be able to find those document attributes as part of the resource type facet. We choose to put it as part of the resource type facet. Maybe when user will want to search and filter by articles, it will automatically can also choose to exclude retracted publication or retracted notices, or they can also choose to filter for checking for review articles and all of that. I mentioned that this functionality is going to be delivered disabled by default. You will have one switch to enable that. If you choose not to show, not to see one of the article, you can, with customization, hide one of them. I'm not sure that it's not going to be hidden from the facet, but I would like to hear your feedback. But we are going to deliver one switch to one flag to turn it all. I mentioned here that we did prepare the infrastructure to support more documentation attribute, not only the ones that are marked. The ones that are here grayed out will be available in the future, but we did, you may find the labels for them right now because we put the placeholder and we work for that to support it while gradually in the future. Okay, so this is actually what I want to say. So those are the attributes that will be available here. Okay. As I saw a question, if this is available also and can be mapped for Alma, I have to say that I think we need to check that. We did add to the PNX new fields to support that. So we need to check, and same as goes for the open access, if you can normalize and add as well over there, but this I need to check that as well. I have to say also to mention that while you will see in the release note to which sources we are pulling this information from, and of course it will be a gradual growth on that, and to see more mass. Before I do a demo, as this is a feature is actually really coming from CDI. If you want to test it, we need you to be aware that this will be available for you to check and test with the CDI August release, which is usually available on the first Wednesday, of the release. And then now I'm going to do this demo for you. So let's say that I'm searching for Mediterranean diet. I'm searching for that, and while scrolling the results, I will be able to see this retracted publication. While hovering it, I can see more explanation about the tooltip. It's going to be available for me in the full records here and in the brief results. While scrolling here, I can see that for the same article, I can see not only retracted publication, but also retracted notices. As I mentioned, if I'm going into the facet of the resource type, I will be able to choose to exclude a retracted publication or exclude the retracted notices if I don't want to see such an articles in my search results. I can also choose to have to filter and see review articles. So this is a demo to share with you how a regular document attribute can be viewed, which is actually review article. And this is actually what I wanted to share. This is actually what I wanted to share with regarding to the CDI document attributes. Let's move on to the second one. Selected record in Fairbear version list. Here, coming from the idea, what we wanted to gain here, that when opening a list of when I see in my brief results, list of versions to see the record that I'm seeing here considered to be a preferred record. Could be the relevant that match my context, could be the relevant if I'm searching a specific language. I will see this preferred record in my search results. And while going into the list of version, not necessarily at the moment that we will see the record that match my context appear as one of the records that appear first. It can even appear in the next pages. And sometimes user can lose context while going into this list of version. So in order to avoid that, and in order to make and help user quickly understand the context and also be in the context of the record that it came from, we are actually choose to have and to highlight that the record we came from, the record you selected will be always above the list of versions. So you can see here how we implement showing the record above, and then user can navigate it to see more, can move to the next page. I have to mention that even when you are moving to the next page, we will highlight the record at the above we will highlight the record above the list of version. And we also have to mention that the record may appear duplicate, so it could also, it's not necessarily that it will be above, but also within the list. So all of the action of sort by the list or facet will be applied also to that records. I hope that with doing that, we are actually attempt to implement this idea or some of the comments that was raised them. I'd like to do some kind of demo here. So you can see here that I'm searching for the Bible and I see that amount of version, more than 800 versions for that record. Now, when I'm going, into the list of version of that record, I will see now that my selected records will always appear above the version list. If I can navigate down there and even switch to switch, I'm navigating through the results, not necessarily that I see this record, it could appear there. This is why we choose to highlight the record we came from here. So as you can see here, when I'm doing this, if I use the offer, for instance, to filter, second, I choose to the offer to filter, you can see that the record will be duplicated in my list of versions to support them all. And actually, I think that this is what I wanted to say, but I wanted to emphasize this is highlight above this. The list of version is actually meant for and applied for those customers that are using preferred records. Okay. Next is to share with you this that new resource type are now available from CDI, and it's magazine articles and questionnaire. Questionnaire is actually coming from the idea. Magazine and magazine article, we see it this year in the NERS and last year in the NERS, therefore it's part of the roadmap. And you can see that you can find the definition of those resource type. The resource type are available here for display as the main resource type, and also available to filter by. So as we understand, the request was to allow user distinguish between the article and magazine article. So you can do this by filtering and also for questionnaire. And that's it. And also, as this is also enhancements that coming from CDI, I would like to see that this enhancement is available with the CDI August release, and it's available for both Primo V and Primo August release. Okay. Display the item policy in the Get It. This is the top idea that we have, and we finally delivering it after we had some conversation with a customer to better understand the requirement. And this is how we understand this feature. And this is how we are delivering it. So far, when the item policy, so far when you choose to define for an item, for physical item policy, you can do that only from Alma, going into a specific physical item and edit it and choose the item policy. This is an example for this book, that the item policy for it for this physical item was set to be 4-day loan. Now we are referring to that, and also Alma, to that attribute as a persisted attribute. And the list of policy in Alma can be, you can define what will be the value of the list. It could be the loan period and any other policy that you will find. I don't want you to be confused with the way term of use is being working, which is also can be a set of rules that in being determined and can be associated to a specific user group. Here, what we are saying, if you choose to have and define for an item this item policy field, now it can be exposed not only through the Alma editor, but it can also be exposed as additional attribute here. It can be exposed as additional attribute in the get it, as you can see here. Same as we have the barcode and call number, same as this will be appear always, no matter if you are a guest, no matter if you are signed in, just exposing this persisted attribute. And what we are delivering is actually we are delivering configuration. You can go into the get it configuration in Primo VE to the item display configuration, and you can choose to add a field which calls the item policy. You can choose to add it to the brief item display and to the full or only to the full item display. So this is actually what we are sharing. Now I'm opening one of the environment. I'm guest, I'm not signed in, and I see for this What to Eat book, I see in the Get It, I can see the term of use is decided to be loanable, and I see that we choose to display item policy 4-day loan, and it's appear in the brief item details and also in the full details, has same as any other item. So I hope this implementation actually will answer your need, and we can finally deliver this idea for you. As this is available for the Primo VE August release. More things in the area of the resource recommender. This is something that is already exists in Primo back office, and now we're delivering also in the Primo VE. For resource recommender, previously, or what is actually working before this enhancement is that the suggested resources that we are showing them are actually performing an exact match to this searchable tag. So resource recommender that is mapped to this searchable tag food and drug administration can only be appear if the user type exact and only food and drug administration. Now, with this enhancement, we are also applying additional search capability. For instance, we will use the synonym. So if the user will search FDA, it will also fetch them resource recommender that are match the searchable tag, because we will use the synonym file to do the extra matching. And we will also use inflection, singular or plural, and we can also ignore or use stop words and fetch and much more match and accurate to the searchable tag. And you can also support changing of the order. So all of these capabilities will be available and gonna raise more suggestion from the resource recommender. So as I said, if someone had the searchable tag to be Harry Potter, and if I search Potter Harry, it will be available. If I map in the synonym 14 or 14 by the words, it will be available for me. If I will type FDA and I have a searchable tag, which is not abbreviation, the Food and Drug Administration. It will fetch me this website. Oh, as I mentioned, if I type history in plural or in singular, I will still be able to see this one. And if I type it in plural, I will also be, and same goes for the food and drug, the history of the United States. Just before moving into the next item, I have to say the inflection and the stop words are actually currently will be supported for English. We will work to support other languages as well. And just technically, so you will understand what is behind the scene, what is actually in order to implement and enrich the search capability of the resource recommender, what we are actually doing is we are going to index in our Solar search engine this searchable tag, okay? And while doing that, while indexing, and we can actually use the smartness of the search engine using the cinnamon inflection and those mechanisms, and this is what allow us to enrich the matching. So having said that is require indexing, I have to share with you that if you want now to test this feature, what you need to do, if you are going to add new resource recommender, it will be indexed for your new resource recommender. But if you are going to update an existing one, the saving is automatically triggering indexing. But for those of you that already have a bulk of resource recommender configure and existing, in order to measure and see that, they just will have to wait until August installation will be completed. Then we will run a job. It will be transparent for you, but we will run a job to index all of those existing searchable tags, so it will be implemented and available also for the existing, so you don't need to do any saving or something like that. It will be automatically. So just bear in mind that I put this note while you are testing. For your sandbox, you can do a new or update and save and just test it. But in general, from production, we will run job after the installation will be completed. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is the improving the browse performance. Okay, improving the browse performance. Here we choose one of the workflow that we find as a bottleneck, which and that we had a control where to improve. And the flow that we improve, like for instance, I'm searching for King, and I have this entry which said to me I have more than 20 records available. For this specific entry, I know that there are 300 records. So far, before this improvement to the performance, what we did is we went to the Alma browse, asking to get these 300 records in bulk, and then we fetch all of these records and show you only the top or the pagination, but the action of fetching all of the records actually was heavy in terms of performance. And in order to make it a lightweight and available for user in reasonable time, what we did is actually we are going to bring from Alma a bulk of records and not the entire one. And in order to make this performance, there are actually impact to the that you need to be aware of. So as we are not bringing all, we will not show the total. The impact will be that now when user, will not show to the user results 1 until 10 out of the total results, like the 300 records. The user will have to know and navigate to the next page. We will have this next pagination, but the total will not be available here. And another thing that we did is also we disabled the dedupe and Ferber while viewing the browse search results. We thought that also it should be make sense and show all of the records not grouped by Ferber and dedupe. So actually, I have to say that this performance optimization will be enabled by default. We are showing you the impact, missing the total of records and also disabling the default. If you choose not to have it, just open a case to support and we will disable that. I will share with you an example. Currently, this is with the optimization. I'm going to this entry here. In the production of that environment, it took longer. Now you will see the turn to records are being fetched much more faster. I don't have the total records. And if I want to navigate, I have the ability to have an indication that I have next page and next page. I don't have the entire pages showing for us. We are just moving bulk by bulk to fetch the information, but much more faster than before. And you do have all of the facet. For the facet, we do have counted for all of the records, but this is behind the scenes another operation. So missing the total record, showing all versions, no matter if no dedupe and Ferber. This is actually the impact of this optimization for the browse. Okay, next, this is actually a request for long-term digital loans. Long-term digital loan is actually a process in which a library can lend digital copies for physical material. And while they are doing this lending, they are imitating the behavior as if it is a physical material, meaning they are giving a digital copy in a certain time, same as a physical material. You just have 3 days to view it. Even if it's a digital, after 3 days, we won't show the user. We are sharing, maintaining the same policy as if it's a physical material. If you want to learn more on that, there is a YouTube where Yoel Kotrick and Daniel Greenberg product are explaining more on that. Now in Primo V August release, you will be able to see in the request also request type of digital loan if you choose to activate, and there are digital loans over there. So you will be able to see, you will be able from the request to click on a view and to view it. And you will be able to see in the full records from the view online, you will be able to see access to the digital loan of this digital copy. You will be, if the library approved and for the certain time that this user have access to that material. So this is really delivered mostly by the Alma Digital team and available in Primo V in that area that I mentioned, the request and the view online to make an access. Now, if you choose if you want to try or to enable this feature, you should open a case to our support, and then they support you and open that for your testing. Okay, I think that I cover most of the highlights. I'd like to mention additional things that are coming. In CDI, with the CDI August release, we are also integrating Melingo. We are also integrating Melingo, the Hebrew search plugin. In order to do that, we actually work in order to map Hebrew collection or Hebrew material in a specific server when we can actually implement Melingo, this third party that will specialize in Hebrew. So this will be available with the August release. I have to say it's not only serving the Israeli communities, can serve other institutions that have activated the Hebrew collection in CDI. So this is an improvement to Hebrew search. More to highlight coming from this idea. coming from this idea, there was a request from you, the customer, while showing the overdue, not to show minutes and hours. So there is a configuration today that is controlling the display of those loans. So if you choose there not to show, to disable the hour and minutes, now it's going to be work. So as you can see here in the loans, we are not showing the minutes and the hour. And so this is while applying this configuration, it will be available for both Primo Backoffice and Primo VE. In Primo VE, if we have the get it, we will also check for the same configuration not to show the overdue over the minutes and hour over there as well. Okay, more configuration available for you. In the newspaper search, you will be able to set a different configuration for the default sort. You can choose to have default sort by date by newest in the newspaper search, okay? Which is different from the brief result default sort. It's available in Primo Backoffice August release and will be available in Primo V in September release. As I mentioned also earlier, this is what we call library notices. This section is now available in the personal details, in the My Library cards. This allows user to choose whether to get a notification from the library and which notification to opt in or opt out. So, for example, this user choose not to get loan status letters from the library. So this will be available as well for user to choose which notification to get. Now, an update that I want to share. During my release and August release, we have implemented the link data offer info card as part of our full display, and we were about to release it. But before we did this release, and I think that this also was communicated in conferences, we had the approach of link data accessing to external sources, using API to external sources, and fetching information, enriching the content from external is available. So while before release, well, we did our KPI and see that this feature can serve all of our customers. While we'll check scalability for that, accessing online to services like for Wikidata or Library of Congress to enrich data from those sources, we found that actually those services are not standing our KPI of performance on the amount of calls that we as a platform for all of the institutions can deliver. This is why, although feature is actually ready for release, we decided to delay for 2024 and maybe to go into to try a different approach, not to do it online, maybe to use dump and load the data externally. So this is actually still under discussions, all of this link data offer page or for info card, and we will be happy to deliver more update. I found it very important very critical to share with you as we were expecting and delayed, and we work on that. Just to share with you the status it's also something that as a partner for us, you need to be aware of, okay? Okay, resource type filters in Primo VE. I've added this bullet as following some threads that I saw in the Primo list. One of the discussion over there was while we released in Primo VE that the number for the resource type filters, while clicking from the resource type on books, for instance, or clicking for books from the facet resource type, the numbers in Primo VE were not aligned. Now we fix it with the August release. You will be able to see. So if you did not activate, please check it and activate it. Try again to see. We also saw another thread that there was a limitation of 10 resource type per all. And now in November, we are going to provide 10 resource type per scope. And I think that I cover everything, and I would like to share with you what is coming in the next quarter. In the next quarter, we need to deliver the last nurse from 22. It's about improving the search experience where no search results are found, mainly from autocomplete. This is something that is still in design, and we will try to deliver in November. We are very exciting to work on new carousel widget, where you will be able to embed in other sites, like faculty sites or other sites, a carousel of material, special material from your library, and increase traffic to your library. This is something really nice, and it's also coming from the idea. We will also work on providing you configuration for the user configuration to expand the citation trail results. So far, while we are sharing, user going into click on cited by, it will see a citation list, but this citation will be filtered also by the library activation. We will add a toggle over there to allow the user to expand the citation list to even show more citation, even if the library is not, if it's beyond library collections. In Primo VE, we also will give you more flexibility to define keys in the dedupe and the Ferber that are based on local fields. We'll enhance the discovery import profile to support more options to define availability status, and also to support Unimark. And I think that you can see that the August release is really a huge one. There were a lot of items. We did work on a lot of stuff, and I hope for a smooth release over there. And I think it's really a time for your questions about the item that we've shared with you. So Scott, if there are any questions.
Yeah, we got quite a few questions, so give me a second. First question is, will it be possible to map those attributes in ALMA? For example, if I have other primary sources in my collection, will it be possible to map them? Will the primary sources be a resource type?
So it's not considered a resource type. We added it as a new field in the PNX, and I need to check whether you can have the option to map local catalog to that. Can I suggest that you will write me this question? I'll forward it internally. So even if it's not supported, we will add a task to support it locally. I really like to understand the use case of locally, and why do you think it's I would like to check that this capability.
Okay, another question is, are you going to relabel those filter bar numbers to something more understandable?
Relabel the filters bar? I believe that they are referring to the analytics, but this is why we are giving the customized value analytics. So if the target is for us, so whatever is written for the user, this what will appear in your Primo Analytics in the customized value new subject area.
Okay. Another question is there a way to display it but not have the facet, or vice versa?
And this is probably the documentation attribute. I'm not sure I understand. I'd like to get an email of why to show only indication and not filter. Usually when we are sharing stuff that like for only for display, we are getting requests for customer to have it also filtered by.
Okay. Another question is, the review attribute is different from the review resource type. Is that correct? So any institutions currently using the resource type label review will need to update that to book review.
I think that each one, it may be confused for the user, but each one have its own definition why the review articles and review as opposed to book reviews. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is regarding new customized values usage in analytics. Is there a plan to make specific resource recommender entries, not just which resource recommender, but which entry within the recommender has been displayed and selected?
So as I mentioned, having this customized value is actually open us opportunities for more. I wanted to add for 24 maybe the showing the which citations are most popular. Note I would love to get a prioritization. Maybe I know that there is idea on the resource recommender, which one is being used. We need to check. It's actually open us for more option to see which are being used. Yeah, it could be an option. Thank you for raising it.
Yep. Next question is, thank you for that, or it's comment. Thank you for that display of review article. I see how that differs from the existing review label for book reviews as a resource type. I see that review article is listed separately in the facet from review in the example. Thanks. Okay. Next question is, I would recommend changing the word publication to article. Otherwise, it suggests the entire journal was retraded.
I suggest to write this comment. I will forward it to the CDI team to better examine.
Okay. Another question is, any chance you're considering restoring newspapers to the general search?
Restoring newspaper. Maybe you can give me more of the use cases and why do you need? Actually, we did the separation from that. Okay. Yeah, I will get, if you can write me an email, the use case for that, we'll better examine what is required here. Yeah.
Okay. Could you please tell us how the type magazine is being determined? Is it from the Ulrich serial type field or another additional source?
I apologize that I cannot answer that. Really, this is also one of the questions that I'd like to forward to the CDI team, and we can enrich even the documentation based on your question on that. I will take it there.
Okay. Here's another comment. These resource recommender search enhancements for Primo VE are wonderful. It'll make our work so much easier, not having to add so many tag variants. Thank you.
Right.
Question, going back to the question, is there a plan for the upcoming carousel widgets to be actionable from Alma collections? We use the collections for a variety of purposes, and our teaching staff has expressed an interest in having display in LibGuides, but prefer the record management to be done in Alma.
So I'm not sure about managing in Alma. What I can share, what I'm really excited with implementing this carousel, we just implemented it very easily in very way that will be easily for you to embed and deploy. And it's actually as if you're writing URL for search. So if those collections that you want are searchable from your library search, it will be easy to take this URL or search query, having it here, and then you can add it to LibGuide very easily to implement. The input will be the input required from you will be very simple, giving us query or URL. We need to decide that. It's currently on finalizing the implementation, and embedding that whenever you want. I'm not sure that I understand about the Alma managing, but everything that will be searchable from your discovery can be go ahead and take this query and have it exposed through this carousel in our site. We will expose up to 10 and then a button to go into the discovery with the same search to view more.
Okay. There's a question with regards to linked data. Is there any possibility of using local data, such as the ability for institutions to select which data sources to use?
So we try to work with two sources. Actually, it's an option to work with us on that. Maybe we can reuse what we've implemented, not pointing to the external in the web. If possible, I'd like to get more understanding of this local data, and you can email me and I will forward it to the contact celebrities that we are dealing with the link data, and we can see what can be done and what can be delivered also for that.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. So Nili, if anybody else has any remaining questions, go ahead and throw them into the Q&A. Nili, otherwise, why don't you just go ahead and make some concluding remarks.
Sure. So thank you for joining the session, and thank you for all of the feedback and the questions. The release will be available on Sunday. Please bear in mind that some of the enhancement will be available with the CDI August release, as I mentioned. Thank you. Please give us feedback on the thing. You can see that August is really a full one, and I'm really proud of our development team delivering it. And looking forward for November, and also there is this Igloo conference when we can also discuss and share with you more.